6ix9ine is now a free man. You would think that hopefully he will now change his ways and live clean, but let's be truthful, he probably won't last a day. Forget just trying to make a comeback, he might not even survive what's coming for him. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
Do you want to win any of these items on the screen? If so, be sure to watch the whole video, leave a like, and comment the hidden message. And with that being said, let's get right back into the video.
6ix9ine is free.
What jig? I got my asthma pump, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's Treyway.
We're not lying, we're not joking, we're not saying it could happen. 6ix9ine is officially out of prison, and the rap world is shocked by the way he pulled it off. Do recall, and we'll explain more in detail later, that he was sentenced to prison that he was supposed to last until October or November of 2020, though some reports say August now because of various factors, but those are obviously moot. And yet he's totally out of jail. How does that happen? Simple, the pandemic happened. Confused? I'll explain. The coronavirus that is sweeping the world is a very serious problem. Anyone who tells you otherwise is a liar and a fool, and there are places where if someone was to get infected, it could cause fatal problems to everyone around them. One of those places is a prison. Now sure, you could pretty much argue that because all the inmates are in the prison before the virus got turned loose, including 6ix9ine, that doesn't technically mean they can't get it via visitors, prison guards, etc. Now as for why 6ix9ine himself got out of jail for this, it's because he apparently has asthma, which we honestly didn't know he had, and he better have had to prove it before to the judge. And people with asthma have a higher risk of getting infected with the virus, and because of the poor prison system, it would have been very hard for him to take care of himself as well as not infecting other people. To be clear, he does not have the virus, but he was afraid of getting sick, and thus he begged the prisons and then various judges to let him out, and after a week of begging, one did because they felt the virus was a good excuse for him to be set free. The COVID-19 pandemic is extraordinary and unprecedented in modern times in this nation. It presents a clear and present danger to free society for reasons that need no elaboration. COVID-19 presents a heightened risk for incarcerated defendants like Mr. Hernandez with respiratory ailments such as asthma, Judge Engelmeyer wrote. He continued, the Center for Disease Control warns that persons with asthma are at a high risk of serious illness if they contract the disease. Further, the crowded nature of municipal jails, such as the facility in which Mr. Hernandez is housed, present an outsized risk that the COVID-19 contagion, once it gains entry, will spread, and realistically a high-risk inmate who contracts the virus while in prison will face challenges in caring for himself. He was released on April 2nd and is now at home, but what that means exactly isn't quite what you might believe. His new home life.
6ix9ine reportedly signed a $10 million deal with his former label 10K Projects.
If you're expecting 6ix9ine to just jump right back into home life because he's released from jail, it's not that simple. And honestly, that's the best news of this whole situation. Because of what's going on and the reasons he was released, he's still bound by the rules of jail. In this case, he's under house arrest, and he even has a GPS monitor to make sure that he stays in his home outside of medical trips and visits to his lawyer. Other than that, he can't leave, and he'll even have to do video chats with certain people in the court system should things go wrong. In short, he's not going to be living the high life outside of just being in his own home, which I'm sure some people will say is a major victory in that being locked inside your own house isn't as bad as being locked inside of a prison. No doubt 6ix9ine will try to make the most of this situation and no doubt abuse the privileges that have been given to him, but that's another list entirely. This new situation will last for a few more months until his prison sentence is completely served. More than likely, should 6ix9ine push his luck and try to commit some violations, it'll end with him back in jail, which I'm sure is what most people are hoping for, especially since this whole case has been nuts since the beginning of it all. But the craziness might not stop here, because as we all know, 6ix9ine is most definitely not the most beloved person in the rap world right now, and things are gonna get worse for him long before they get better. Who's after him?
Everybody just got hemmed up, and he walked away with 2 years.
So the next rather obvious question is, why would he be in danger in his home confinement? That would be because he managed to tick off a very powerful group that would love nothing more than to put him away, in a permanent sense. For years, 6ix9ine has boasted that he was part of the group called the 9 Treys, even using them as extras in his various music videos. And while many considered this to be all talk, his many brushes with the law showed that this wasn't exactly the case. In fact, he got off multiple times in various cases, and others weren't even brought up against him. This would eventually get the attention of the FBI, who started a long, hard process of getting evidence against 6ix9ine and his former manager and crew, who were also members of the 9 Treys, so that they could make a mass arrest. On November 18th, 2018, that's exactly what they did. 6ix9ine and his entire crew were arrested on charges or illegal possessions of substances with the intent to sell, conspiracy, and criminal enterprise. Even if you don't have a law degree, you have to acknowledge that that's really not good in terms of charges. In fact, it was so bad that some of the charges, including the conspiracy charge, carried a life sentence if convicted of it. And at minimum, with the 9 9 charges levied against 6ix9ine, he was looking at 47 years in prison, minimum. Anyway, with literal decades of jail time staring him down, 6ix9ine did the only thing he could do. He went and made a plea deal with the FBI. He agreed to rat out the 9 Trey Bloods, and in exchange, he would get a much lesser sentence, including possibly not getting jail time at all, depending on how good he was on the stand. Needless to say, he did good, the deal in testifying.
They both are looking at years behind bars. 6ix9ine was famously arrested in November 2018 and turned state's witness a day later.
As part of said plea deal, he would not only give up evidence against the 9 Trey Bloods, he would go and testify against them for all the things that they had done. In September 2019, 6ix9ine went and did a string of testifying in court about the 9 Treys, and it was there that he revealed some very interesting tidbits about the group, the lifestyle, and what his role in it was, as mentioned earlier. But one of the things that he mentioned that caught a lot of people's attention was that he wasn't happy in the group anymore. Apparently, there were all sorts of tension between the 9 Treys and 6ix9ine, to the extent that 6ix9ine had to fire his manager and crew, who were again part of the 9 Treys, and were arrested that night in November of 2018 along with him. He claims that he fired them because they were stealing money off of him after every concert, and not in the "you're cut to the group" kind of way, which for all his bravado is honestly a pretty basic reason for getting rid of someone. And as proven via various wiretaps on 6ix9ine's phone and the other phones of the group, the other members of 6ix9ine's crew and various members of the 9 Treys were wanting to teach him a lesson in order to set him straight, going so far as to have someone of the higher ups in the group order the crew to super violate him in order to put him in his place. If 6ix9ine knew about these threats and stances beforehand, it's no wonder he fired the manager and crew before they could do those orders. And if he heard these wiretaps and such afterwards when he was getting ready for the potential plea deal, it's all the motivation he needed to rat out the crew and get things back on the level that he wants them out. Revenge and payback are two very powerful motivators. When he was asked about his role in the group, he basically admitted to being their bank, stating that whenever he got paid from a concert or a record deal or a song going big, he would show them the money and they would get a cut and they'd give him the rest, and he was perfectly fine with that. In a way, he was being used by the group, but as he also admitted in court, the reason he joined the group was because he felt that he could only get big in the rap industry with their help. Because while they are a dangerous group, the 9 Treys do have influence, and they use that to build 6ix9ine up in the right way, which he loved. But as you can see, that love fell away, and with that came the discontent that eventually led to the division, that led to the arrest, that led to the snitching on the 9 Trey Bloods. And believe it or not, with 6ix9ine out of jail, he's actually in a worse spot than he was when he was in jail. The problem with freedom. There's an old expression that freedom isn't free, and usually that's used in the context of saying that a nation has to fight for its freedom. But in this case of 6ix9ine, that freedom also has to be earned, and not in the way that you think. As we outlined, 6ix9ine is currently at home on lockdown, in terms of him being able to leave the premises until his time is up. You might think that this would be the perfect place for him to remain, but in fact, the opposite is true. You see, the 9 Trey Bloods want him gone, and now 6ix9ine is in a singular place that he can't leave outside of visits to his lawyer, and thus it would be very easy to track him down and figure out where he is staying in order to get him. But can the cops protect him, you might be asking? And the answer is a definitive no, not because of some beef or anything like that, but rather because of logistics. You see, right now the world is on lockdown because of the coronavirus, to the extent that the various first responders across the police, firefighting, and medical fields are literally stretched to the limit trying to take care of anyone and everyone who might be either infected with the virus or trying to take advantage of those who aren't able to do things because of it. In short, if someone was trying to get revenge on 6ix9ine because of everything he did, this would be the time to do it because there would be no way he could get away due to the lockdown. We're not saying that's definitely going to happen, but it's a possibility that can't be ignored, and I'm sure 6ix9ine is feeling a bit nervous every time that doorbell rings. The rap world versus 6ix9ine.
That's all of us, but to me, the worst thing you could do in the history of mankind is be a rat.
If we're going to talk about the snitching that 6ix9ine has done, we also have to talk about the consequences that it brings with it. We already mentioned that the 9 Trey Bloods aren't happy with him because he snitched, but that's only the beginning of the issue. Rappers have a very clear view in regards to loyalty. You're either loyal or you're not, and if you snitch, you better believe you're going to be branded as not loyal, and they take that notion very seriously. Throughout the trial, since 6ix9ine was confirmed to be getting a plea deal, 6ix9ine was berated by rappers of all kinds for his snitching. From Snoop Dogg saying that he should be locked up for life just for snitching, to guys like Meek Mill and 21 Savage stating that he showed his true colors by becoming a snitch. It was all very big and dark and such, and many rappers have stated that if 6ix9ine really does try and get back into rap, that they won't be able to count on him for anything because of the fact that he's now a snitch, and nothing he does will be able to burn that label off of him. Then there's the matter of the 9 Treys, who are without a doubt going to be looking for some payback after the testimony of 6ix9ine put a lot of their crew in jail, and is continuing to get members of their crew arrested and such, with 6ix9ine potentially being let out into the open, you can bet they're going to take an opportunity to present itself, which makes you wonder, how will 6ix9ine counter this? The answer from certain sources is that he's going to hire dedicated security to protect him and his family to ensure he doesn't get hurt, though that will be rather costly, and he doesn't exactly have the money to do that for a long time without getting dry, so to speak. Thus, he'll need to hit it big with his return to music so that he can continue to hire the guards, but even then, that may not protect him for long, as we've noted. Yet what might be the worst thing of all is that 6ix9ine is still acting like 6ix9ine, not learning the lessons. Okay, if there's one basic thing to hate about 6ix9ine, it's that he acts like a child even when it's clear he's in a lot of trouble, and yet he'll try to act mature when it's relevant to him to try and boost his image. 6ix9ine only cares about one person, and that's 6ix9ine, which is exactly the reason he keeps getting in trouble, and he's barely been out of jail a few weeks, and he's already stirring up the pot, which is hilarious because it proves he hasn't learned anything from his jail time, and that his statements made before the judge were a lie, including, "I now know that I am remorseful for what happened because I was blessed with the gift of an opportunity that most people dream of, but I squandered it by getting involved with the wrong people and misrepresenting myself when I should have been true to myself and my fans. I'm sorry to the victims who were affected by my actions, to the fans who looked up to me and were misled, to my family who depends on me, and to this courtroom for this mess that I contributed to." There's a lot to unpack there, and yet that wasn't the only thing that was said. His lawyer added this before things were settled. Mr. Hernandez is a rap artist who foolishly joined the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods, here and after 9 Trey, in an attempt to promote a gangster persona, which would help him sell his music and advance his career, Lazaro wrote in the filing. If that's still not enough for you, 6ix9ine also said in a statement, "I'm not perfect, I've made a lot of bad choices, but that does not make me a bad person." Right, doing various crimes associated with a group that does even worse crimes and then snitching on them in order to save your sorry butt doesn't make you a bad person? Sure it doesn't. Anyway, not long after his release, 6ix9ine went to the internet to do what he does best, troll. And in the case of this trolling session, he went off on people who claimed he was a snitch. You know, even though he totally is, and we have hundreds of pages of court documents saying that he is, yeah, he clearly doesn't understand that he is a snitch and started to blast people who said that about him. Then in some interviews he's done since the release, he jokes that he'll snitch on other people if he has to, which is not only stupid, but again proving that he hasn't learned a thing. He can joke all he wants right now because he did get his wish and got out of jail, but it's only going to be a matter of time before things continue to backfire on him like it did before his jail sentence. So if he's not careful, his tongue might get him in trouble again before the 9 Treys get at him. The future of 6ix9ine.
To his former compatriot 50 Cent have shared their thoughts on the matter.
If he made the record, I believe the audience would play it.
But for now, we'll just have to wait and see.
Without a doubt, the only thing on 6ix9ine's mind right now is living it up in his freedom and getting back to the rap world as soon as possible. But is that possible? Technically, yes, he is able to make music even on lockdown. His past tracks are getting a surge because of his release, and there was even a rumor before he was locked up for an extra year in December 2019 that he was going to get out and get a $10 million contract. But whether that actually happens, who can say? No one could have predicted him getting out early because of a worldwide pandemic, so predicting this just as improbable. 6ix9ine certainly has high hopes for his own future, but how much of this picture will come in will only become visible as the strokes of the brush dry. And there you have it, a look at the aftermath of 6ix9ine getting out of jail and the people who are going to be coming after him in mind, body, and soul. Who do you think will get to 6ix9ine? Or will he remain okay for the immediate future? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe. I'm King Trending, and I'll see you next time.
A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.